Coming next, a Shooting USA profile of the man who is changing the shooting sports. Once the flight lead in Afghanistan, now grounded, but still leading to open up shooting to wounded warriors. It's time you knew Trevor's story.
This is Shooting USA, reporting the stories of America's shooting sports.
Pull.
There was no way to know what would come from a chance meeting with a personable young man in a wheelchair. He was one of thousands of wounded warriors, the casualties of the war on terror. Our conversation turned to what we did and his interest in shooting. There was no way to know then that our first meeting would be the beginning of a significant change in the shooting sports. All I knew was that Chief Warrant Officer Trevor Balcom had been a Black Hawk pilot in Afghanistan. But like the best of our warriors who don't talk about their accomplishments, I didn't learn how skilled he had been until hearing from his fellow pilots when we went along for an event that had never happened before in the Army, a final flight at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, an honor flight.
And she's on a rise, and we are well below 80.
Flight exercises, Fort Campbell, Kentucky, home of the Screaming Eagles, the legendary 101st Airborne Division Air Assault.
Black Hawk 532 for Grant.
Right next, Black Hawk 532, I'm flying.
Cavalry who ride to war beneath the rotor of a high-tech horse.
Cal 525 Squawk 0201.
0201, Vulcan.
And on the tarmac, it is well above 105 as pilot Steve Shankle escorts a VIP, a wounded warrior, to his waiting Army Black Hawk helicopter. The man in the wheelchair will soon be his passenger on a flight that is the first of its kind. These soldiers have designated it an honor flight in honor of Trevor Balcom. These guys seem to have a pretty high opinion of you.
Well, I'm a quasi-popular fella. So I'm so handsome.
That's it.
It's always it.
Chief Warrant Officer Trevor Balcom, always quick with a laugh. But his comrades are very serious about what this soldier and this honor flight mean to them.
It is a bittersweet moment for 5th Battalion.
Major Travis McIntosh is Operations Officer for 5th Battalion, Trevor's outfit.
We're here with this opportunity to honor him in his really final flight in the Army. And he's sharing this experience with crew members that he has flown and fought with in this last deployment. But what an opportunity for us to share it with Trevor.
And what an opportunity to fly with him, just days before the Army gives this soldier his medical discharge.
In your mind, you're up there in front, aren't you?
You see, only a few months ago, Chief Warrant Officer Balcom was in the pilot seat of a Black Hawk like this. Trevor was fighting the war on terror, deployed to Afghanistan as part of Task Force No Mercy. He was Phantom Company's flight lead and pilot in command.
Flight lead is the guy that takes the mission and plans the mission. What they want to do, where they want to go, how many people they want to take, and you start working out a way to make the plan work. And then in flight, the flight lead is the one in the lead aircraft, and they're the ones that are making sure that you take off on time and you hit the target on time.
He earned that trust, that responsibility, while flying 2 years of successful missions against high-value enemy targets.
Second deployment as a pilot was 2010, and we were flying Australian Special Operations, Commandos, SAS, some really good people. We were just taking them out, dropping them off, and they were killing bad guys. We'd pick them up, bring them back home.
This is actual video from one of those assaults in Afghanistan, shot with a tiny camera mounted to the helmet of an Australian commando. That dust cloud is Trevor Balcom landing his Black Hawk in the middle of a firefight.
We had put a bunch of the Australians into a valley, and they ended up killing 70 some odd Taliban. We had 3 or 4 aircraft came out with some holes in them, and ended up being a really good mission. One guy wounded and a bunch of bad guys dead.
1 week later, Trevor took flight lead on a critical follow-up mission, this one under the cover of night.
You can't describe how dark it is in Afghanistan. It's like going in the bathroom at night and turning off all the lights in the house. That's about how dark it is a lot of nights there.
The pilots were flying using night vision, and Trevor was working coordinates for the insertion while his co-pilot flew the Black Hawk.
Everything's green and black. And we had just started our descent because we were getting by the target, and next thing I know, I'm in a hospital in Germany.
His co-pilot had flown the Army chopper into the ground.
Not quite sure what happened. We ended up hitting the ground, and here I sit.
Trevor was paralyzed from the waist down in the crash. 3 Australian commandos died. So did one of the crew chiefs. His buddies created this memorial to honor crew chief Brandon Silk.
Doing all right back there, Trevor? Eagle radio, good day, call 100 at 535, approaching float on.
All right, how's it feel to be back up here, Trev? This was your office, man.
Damn nice.
Today, Trevor's comrades pay tribute to him, show him their respect. This honor flight is Phantom Company, 5th Battalion, telling this soldier he will always be one of them.
To lose a guy of Trevor's caliber, he's pilot in command, he was an air mission commander, flight lead. A guy doesn't get those titles just by showing up to work.
Oh, he's an honor to fly. I mean, I've known Trevor for a long time. We've had a lot of good missions together. One unfortunate accident changed, I think, all of our lives in that one split second, but it's an honor to do anything with Trevor. He's a great man and a great pilot.
To see the guy, how he's conducted himself, that never give up attitude. He stands as an example for other wounded warriors who find themselves in a similar situation, to never give up, to always take the good with the bad, and to never wallow in self-pity.
As the Black Hawk returns to the Fort Campbell airfield, there is one more honor awaiting Trevor, a firefighter's salute to a wounded warrior taking his final flight.
That was kind of a surprise on me right before we got here. But, I'm really glad they do it to give him that honor, because that's an honor that he deserves.
It was a day, it was a salute Trevor will never forget.
That was a heck of a day. That was a good day. Got to pick out some good buddies and have them fly us around. That was something else. Getting back in there, it's nice. Kind of miss that.
You miss flying?
Yeah, it was a good time. Flying, it's not too many times we weren't fun flying.
A heck of a good day. But what now for a medically discharged former pilot? The answer is coming up as Trevor takes on the challenge of participating in the shooting sports from his chair. It was a dinner in Springfield, Massachusetts with Julie Golub and Paul Pluff of Smith & Wesson. I was telling them about the huge reaction we'd gotten to one pro tip when Todd Jarrett had demonstrated how to carry and shoot from a wheelchair, that we'd begun to realize there were a lot of people confined to chairs in this country. And they said, what if we could find a Team Smith & Wesson shooter in a wheelchair? And I said, I've got the guy.
Stand by.
Practice. 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 No competitive shooter ever got to the top without paying his dues at the firing range. And Trevor Baucom is anteing up.
Absolutely, and I like the challenge of it. You know, I can do most everything everybody else can. I just gotta figure out a different way to do it.
It's that spirit that attracts great people to Trevor, and his lack of self-pity that makes them quick to offer help.
Trevor, that was unbelievable. I didn't realize how much movement I had during recoil.
Blackhawk pro Todd Jarrett even walked in Trevor's shoes to help him train for the unique challenge of shooting from a wheelchair.
Tell you right now, get on the range and practice these drills.
I will, Todd. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You got it, buddy. Anytime.
Are you ready?
Trevor may be a developing shooter, but he is a remarkable man, living life to the fullest.
That's a good boy.
He's surrounded by friends. He's a father of 3 and a husband to a devoted wife.
Love him. You know, anyone that comes in contact with him, they meet him, they love him. He's still the same Trevor. Just Trevor in a wheelchair now, that's it.
Circles, keep moving, Delilah. Just find an open area and keep moving.
Trevor is a wounded warrior who doesn't let the fact that his legs don't work define who he is. Just how many soccer coaches do you know who coach from a wheelchair? Life goes on.
It does. You can either be pissed off about the situation you're in, you can deal with it and move on. I got a little bit of life left to live, so I'm going to enjoy it.
All of which leads to this. I met an extraordinary young man about 8 weeks ago. An unprecedented event at the 2011 NRA annual meeting. An historic event for the shooting sports. And I want to have him roll out here. Trevor, this is Trevor Baukamp. I had the privilege to introduce Trevor as Smith & Wesson unveiled him as the newest member of its pro shooting team.
We'd like to present Trevor with the official Smith & Wesson team shirt and welcome him to the team. My heart stands still to see this. Makes me proud.
The first sponsored pro shooter ever in a wheelchair.
And look forward to doing well. Hopefully we can get more of the disabled people out here shooting and more of my wounded warrior friends out here shooting.
Actually, we're very excited about this. It opens up a whole new opportunity for our wounded warriors coming back. We know from his training, he's dedicated, he's focused, and I think he's going to do extremely well.
Getting to wear the team shirt is only the start of Trevor's partnership with Smith & Wesson. Today, he's touring the company's factory in Springfield, Massachusetts, seeing the forging of white-hot steel become the basis of 1911 frames.
Well, Trevor Baukamp, man. Pleasure to meet you.
Touring the assembly area to meet the techs who build the pistol he'll shoot in competition, the Smith & Wesson M&P 9.
You guys make a great pistol. I've put a lot of rounds through it and I haven't had any issues with it. It's phenomenal.
Well, hey, Trevor, it's great to see you.
Trevor's trip to Springfield also includes some one-on-one time with Smith president James Debney, checking out the precision machines that produce the M&P's slide.
That's something, a piece of metal you're very familiar with in the job you've been doing for us, the great job you've been doing.
But James also wants Trevor to be an ambassador, inviting new people to the shooting sports and introducing them to Smith & Wesson.
We're going to be leaning on you real heavy to really push that M&P pistol, and you've been doing a great job for us, and I thank you for that.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity.
Smith may be Trevor's biggest supporter, but it's far from his only one. Every 9mm round downrange is provided by his ammo sponsor, Atlanta Arms and Ammo.
Atlanta Arms and Ammo has never fully sponsored anybody with ammunition, but I was more than happy to do this, and as you know, anything I can do to help you in the future, I'm more than happy to do.
Danny Wisner says he's delighted to help sponsor Trevor's career, but his support is about more than just one wounded warrior.
I think it's just great. It's just wonderful. Anything that any of us can do to help a wounded warrior is what we should be doing.
And why don't you grab the gun?
Trevor's third sponsor arrives with equipment, prototypes at first. Scott Carnahan worked with his Safariland engineers creating concept holster and mag pouch mounts for Trevor to use in competition. The leg shroud on a paralyzed leg just doesn't feel stable enough.
Trevor, what we're seeing is we're just getting a lot of movement in that right here as well.
But a prototype holster mounted to the chair frame is the answer.
What we came up with is just a clamp system that will actually mount right around the bar like this.
That looks promising, and when they get to the range, Scott assures Trevor Safariland will create a solution.
When we can come out and help do something like this and really help get a shooter back out on the range and shooting, then that's what makes me feel good.
As usual, our shooter remains optimistic about his new life as a pro.
This is really new right now, so I'd like to go out and represent the people that are supporting me as well as I can. It's been a good time shooting. It'll be nice to actually take it up to the next level and see if we can't get some more guys in my position out here having some fun like this.
And Trevor now has 3 more sponsors helping him get more guys in his position out to shoot. Ithaca Gun Company, Nevco Targets, and Outdoor Channel is a sponsor of the first pro shooter they have ever chosen to support. Well, coming up, Trevor represents his sponsors in his first competition, the Bianchi Cup. This special edition of Shooting USA is being brought to you by Smith & Wesson, Ithaca Gun Company, Safariland Holsters and Duty Gear, by Atlanta Arms and Ammo, and by Outdoor Channel, all proud to be sponsoring Trevor Baucom. The 4 stages of the Bianchi Cup competition would seem to be the most wheelchair capable, but there were questions to answer. Would Trevor's wheels fit in the shooting boxes? With his loss of muscle control at the waist, could he lean out to shoot around the barricades without falling out of his chair? Well, we did experiments. And after he put a lot of practice ammo downrange, it was time for the first match. Trevor Baucom's first taste of the world's most prestigious pistol match did not happen at the Falling Plates or on the difficult practical event or even on the challenging mover. No, Trevor's introduction to the Bianchi Cup happened as it does for every competitor, in a room at the Holiday Inn in Columbia, Missouri.
Where are we starting at?
You start down right there.
Right
there. Those guys will take care of your registration. We'll get you all settled up in here, and we'll start a whole new age.
All right.
A whole new age indeed for the shooting sports.
Hey, how are you doing?
Beth Cowgill.
Beth, pleasure to meet
nice
you.
to meet you.
An age where competitors in a wheelchair have to complete their paperwork just like able-bodied shooters. This is match headquarters for the Bianchi Cup, NRA's National Action Pistol Championship. Trevor is competitor 38 in the first match of his shooting career.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Beth.
Thank you. Take care.
And now, with his paperwork behind him, Trevor takes the next step. He hands his M&P 9 over for inspection to make sure it conforms to Bianchi Cup rules, especially for trigger weight. 3.5 pounds in the production class. Trevor's gun meets the spec. And then comes one more important inspection of his new holster and magazine mounts.
What are we up to, Gen 3?
That's beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. This is amazing work.
Nice, Scott.
You like that, buddy? That's awesome.
Scott Carnahan delivers big, presenting Trevor with Safariland's latest creation, a new wheelchair mount for his holster.
You guys need to check this stuff out too?
I already did.
Good to go.
It's going to be mounted. It's legal, so no problem at all. Equipment checks out perfect.
The invention passes with flying colors. It is a new day.
It is. This has really, spurred us on to continue to keep working with the wheelchair and what we can do to get the handicapped people, and especially the wounded warriors, to come out and shoot with us. Good luck to Trevor this week.
Sharp, man. I love it. It's sharp. Appreciate it, man.
A few handshakes and greetings from the master.
How's it going, Doug? Good. You doing all right?
Doing good.
Good deal.
Doug Koenig is a 12-time Bianchi Cup champ, with this year's cup dominating the prize display.
That's nice. That's nice. I have to work on it.
That That work begins the next morning as Trevor and his buddy, Apache pilot Jeff Lamprecht, roll out of Trevor's pickup and into the world of competitive shooting. It is a friendly fraternity.
Appreciate it. Hey, man, thank you for your service. Can't thank you enough. You as well.
Everyone here makes Trevor feel welcome, especially the Bianchi Cup founder. Trevor, let me introduce John Bianchi.
Trevor Bauckham, sir. Pleasure to meet you. Trevor Bauckham.
Trevor, how are you?
Good, sir. How are you doing?
Good to see you. I'm glad to see you here. This is terrific.
Have a good time,
this
sir.
Is terrific.
It is a terrific reception.
You're a great role model to follow. Great inspiration.
He is that, and his time to shoot has come. And after flying a helicopter in combat, the pressure of a shooting match is a piece of cake for competitor 38.
Nah, if I don't win, nothing's gonna happen. Nobody's gonna die.
There's no pressure, nobody's shooting back.
Yeah. So it's quite all right. Gonna come out here and have fun.
That does put things in perspective. Trevor's first event is the practical. A difficult challenge where he shoots against the clock from 10 yards out to 50 yards. Long shots for a pistol. One event now under his belt, and then something interesting happens.
How's it going, Raymond? Trevor.
Ray.
Nice pleasure to meet you, Ray.
How'd you do?
Not as well as I'd hoped, but not too bad. Not too bad.
Well, that's the way it always goes with me, too.
Trevor meets Ray Millsap Jr., the only other Bianchi competitor who shoots from a wheelchair.
I've never seen another guy in a wheelchair at a shooting sport.
Just the angle, the height, you can twist it, whatever you got to do.
And as often happens at any match, talk quickly turns to equipment. Ray is excited by Trevor's setup.
Did you make that yourself?
No, Safariland did. So it just clamps on the wheelchair, snaps in.
Yeah, because then you could use any holster with that.
Oh, yeah.
But Ray is even more impressed that someone like him in a wheelchair is competing at Bianchi.
But I think it's good because when some matches you go to, I don't know if you got it yet, they're like, are you going to shoot? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to shoot. I'm not going to watch. So.
No more sitting on the sidelines for Ray or for Trevor. Shooting the barricade event, the falling plates, the mover, the biggest challenge for any shooter, able-bodied or not. And Trevor finishes with a respectable score.
Good shoot.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, Ray. Thank you.
But it's fair to say this pro shooter is leaving his biggest impression in his very first match just by being here.
So I can shake the pro shooter's hand as well.
Yeah, use that term loosely.
Nice job. Nice job.
I'm just a pretty face.
Coming up, Trevor's new role as the ambassador for the shooting sports, leading the way for wounded warriors and the handicapped.
Pleasure to meet you.
The new mission for the former Black Hawk pilot is finding the shooting disciplines where handicapped competitors can shoot heads up against able-bodied competitors, not in some special category, not as para-competitors, but even up with all shooters. Before Trevor Bauckham, nobody much thought about it. Now the shooting sports are putting out the welcome mat and figuring out how to design matches that are handicap capable.
Everybody got eyes and ears?
Going hot.
Just shoot that left one 6 times, right? Same point aim, point of impact.
Imagine one of the world's best shooters is your shooting coach. Well, we can all dream.
Jerry's a legend, and he's just a great guy.
Go ahead and do a couple of dry fires there. We'll see how you look on the trigger. Trigger pull is more important than sight alignment. You always have to remember that in the back of your head. Very good.
But Trevor Bauckham is the lucky guy learning from Jerry Michalak. One benefit of being a member of the Smith & Wesson shooting team.
Getting coached by probably the best shooter of all time. But just to have the opportunity to sit with someone like that and try to soak up some of that knowledge he's got is an awesome experience.
You want to pop a few?
Sure.
Trevor is gearing up for his next challenge as an ambassador and pro shooter for Smith & Wesson. And he's a natural in the job, as he proved moments after the announcement he was joining Smith's team. It's the annual NRA meeting, and Trevor is making fast friends with a 5-year-old gun enthusiast named Matthew.
I see this little kid off on the side in a wheelchair, and he goes, "Hey, you're in a wheelchair." And I said, "Well, you're in a wheelchair too." And he goes, "Well, that's pretty cool." And I said, "Well, what do you want to see?"
I did this big gun, and
Was it heavy?
yeah,
How big was it?
like this big.
That big?
Yeah.
Trevor's next assignment is competing in the Steel Challenge, and he discovers this match lives up to its name.
A little bit. They're all challenging if you don't hit the target.
But Trevor's score is not as critical as the fact he's competing here, heads up with able-bodied shooters.
They want to compete on a fair, level ground, and that's what we've tried to provide.
And Trevor's application to shoot here has broken down a barrier. One stage at the Steel Challenge Outer Limits requires shooters to run between 2 shooting boxes. So USPSA officials are compromising to account for the fact that Trevor can't run.
We've established that you can shoot them all from the center box.
Okay, sir.
And each string you will be assessed a 1-second penalty.
Okay, sir. I definitely appreciate it, sir.
Enough?
Absolutely, sir.
All right, have
Thank
fun.
you very much. I will do, sir. A blast. Thank you, sir.
Trevor handles Outer Limits like a pro, proving that with only one slight accommodation, disabled shooters can compete in this match, paving the way for the future.
They made it work, and that's I appreciate it. So it's definitely nice of them. I definitely appreciate it. Hopefully there's more guys out here with me next year. Pleasure to meet you, young lady.
He also fulfills his important role as an ambassador, inspiring the junior shooters in the crowd.
It was amazing to watch him shoot. You think people with a disability like him would just give up and think, I can't do it like everyone else. And here he is out here, sponsored by a company like Smith & Wesson, and he rocks.
Another match, another opportunity for Trevor to open doors. This time, the International Defensive Pistol Association Indoor Nationals.
We really want to make it more handicap friendly, because it's important.
Trevor is greeted with an open ear as he meets with the head of the IDPA. At issue is how to make matches more accessible, especially since most are outdoors.
I firmly believe that IDPA is a sport for everybody. Tall, short, handicapped, not handicapped, male, female, you name it. And we just kind of have to figure out, is there a way to do this at an outdoor range,
And Trevor is not just reaching out on behalf of disabled veterans, but to them. This day at the range is organized by HAVA, Honored American Veterans Afield, getting wounded warriors out to hunt and shoot. But he's encouraging all of them to go mainstream too.
And you can get out, like I said, you can get out in the competitions too. That Steel Challenge you can shoot, and the Yankee Cup you can shoot.
And that really is Trevor's message to the able and disabled alike. It's your life. Live it. Just don't sit it out.
There's a lot of people in chairs, a lot of people that are disabled that just don't go out. They sit in their house, they do whatever they do. They just don't go out and try stuff. Get some enjoyment out of life. Basically, if I can get people to come out and do that, happy.
Trevor Baucom, once the pilot in command and flight lead, still a leader, still finding the way to accomplish his mission.